Yeah.
Okay. Big family, we are here. Make sure you are connecting to this one-on-one exclusive with Elder Robert Headley. The powerful brother, the powerful champion king is right here tonight, live on the Pan African Daily. A lot of you have been asking, you've been questioning, you've been reaching out to me, because you can get access to your famous Black education TV program with our brother out there in the UK, in the diaspora. So, but now he's live today on Pan African Daily to share this wonderful, beautiful moment with us. I hope you can already see us in studio out there. And I love this. I love this platform. People are already connecting without even the jingle. I mean, this is great. This is wonderful. This is the spirit, my people. So while you're connecting, make sure that you're already sharing. You can see our Mr. Handsome is sitting right there. The king. The king is already in place and he's going to dish it to us like we already know. So, yes, connect and let's carry on the
You
conversation.
are watching the Pan African Daily TV with Dr. Susan Tata. The Africa we want: unity, consciousness, our culture, our spirituality, our history. One Africa for Africans worldwide. Motherland's calling its diaspora home. Join my voice. Join my team. Join my campaign. Campaign 21 hashtag 1 million subscribers on the Pan African Daily TV YouTube. Be a volunteer. Apply now. Be the new Africa.
Wonderful people, wonderful family. Thank you for joining and connecting to the Pan African Daily TV tonight. As you can see, the images are already chopping. So, but you saw Elder Robert Rodney of the Pan African Re-Education TV. He is really here to share a wonderful time with us. He says, he's been away for some reasons that he's going to explain to you. And so I do appreciate if you're reaching out to one another in the Caribbean, on the continent, in all the islands, in the American, in the European setup. We want to actually touch base with Elder Robert Headley. I mean, the powerful man that has been giving us a lot of education and mentoring about where is actually the heavens that we're all looking for in the skies. Where is it located on the geographical space? And through some very useful research work that he's been doing in the past, made us to understand that everything is located just at the foot of Mother Africa, right there in the middle point of Africa. So I want to thank all of you that are joining this conversation for tonight. And please, like I said, you remember our meeting in Germany this year. You saw the flyer yesterday. Please, I want to thank all of you for your feedback and the conversation that we had yesterday. And we are still going to continue with it. We're still going to continue with the mobilization. Do not forget, if you're here for the first time, make sure that you join our membership program, you click and subscribe, you share. I mean, all these things are things that we don't talk about it in the family again. But before I bring Elda on the show, I just want to find out, how are you doing out there and out there in the diaspora on the continent and wherever you're connected? How is your family? How is your life? How is your community? How is everything working out with you? Are we on the same page? Are there some issues that we're supposed to know? Are there topics that we are supposed to cover? Please make sure you drop every comment in the chat room. I want to welcome all of you that are already in the chat room. Please remember that you can share a comment. You can also, bring a point to our attention. Being in the chat group means you coordinate and moderate the chat. But the rules of the chat is do not use some kind of, language that might not be appropriate and might go against the community standards. So be prudent and be wise. You understand what I mean? I mean, I do understand that we African people are very civilized, intelligent, educated people, and so we know how to compose and to behave ourselves. For those of you watching me on the continent, I truly want to celebrate and congratulate you for your support for the Pan African Daily. Each time we go live, you're the first people to connect. Regardless of the situation out there with the internet and your gadget, you make it always on point as a duty to continue to be on the Pan African Daily, to follow, the educational topics and our scholars and researchers that we bring here all the time. So I want to salute you and I bless you. So yes, I think we're not going to waste time because we've missed Elder so much, and we want to get right deep into this space so that we don't miss something. Okay. So let me bring this young gentleman here. As you can already see, always smiling. I mean, I shared a post on my page yesterday that, East African women say they like to marry Burundian men because they have a smiling face. But if I see Elder Robert Headley here, I think the impressions would be changing. You continentals, women and everybody, please start looking for your husbands in the diaspora, because that's also one point. It's one of the biggest projects that we'll be realizing here on the Pan African Daily, getting you get married to our brothers and sisters also here, so that we can connect and build powerful families out there. So make sure you drop in at any time you're looking for your bride, your groom in the diaspora, your wife. Please, we want to connect on not only through our educational space, but also building perfect families on the continent and the diaspora. Okay.
Uh,
Yes, maybe we're going to give birth to the new children coming from that way. Elder, over to you.
thank you. Thank you, Dr. Suzanne, and it's a pleasure to be here once more. I want to take the opportunity of greeting you for this glorious opportunity once more, and to greet all the kings and the chiefs and the leaders on the continent who are aware of this awakening and is participating in the process of this awakening. Yes, it has been a good long time. I was checking, it was a couple of years. It looked like it passed by so quickly. And people still continue to contact me through that first show that we had back in the days. And so I'm here and delighted to be once more here to share whatever I can share to help our people to wake up to this reality of who we are and feel the pride of being who you are as a Bantu person. Hallelujah.
Yes. I mean, Elder, it's like just you said. I mean, my phone doesn't stop ringing. If there is a TV program, I mean, like all of us that are on this journey of learning and educating our people and connecting our spaces, if there is one huge program that people follow so much, is the Black Re-Education TV. I mean, I'm really amazed and impressed by your work. The more feedback when people contact me, they want to get contact to you, they want to get access to you. And even when you were absent for all this while, people were so worried. I mean, from the continent, in the Caribbean and everywhere, like, what is going on with Elder? I mean, tell me the magic. What is it that you do to our people, my Elder?
It is for the first time we are connecting the Bible with the reality on the ground.
Yes.
Especially this current series is no different to the one I did with Africa is the Holy Land. This one is the pirates who came to the Caribbean. And so we are re-examining the story of the slave trade and the things we're finding out. It was last night, I was on part 11, and I go to do the conclusion. And every time I type the conclusion and I try to save it, it disappeared. I said, this is not right. I type it again, it disappeared. And then I said, oh no, I need to be continuing. And lo and behold, as I continue today to prepare the show for tonight, which is going to be in another 2 hours or so, the information that came out is amazing. You see, and so what has happened is that people are connecting the Bible with this conversation, which is very important because the Bible for us had meant a lot to us. We actually believed nearly everything in this book. Of course, there are some things that have been twisted, but the Bible is coming alive through Black Re-Education TV. But that's not without some of the situations that have developed. And so in the midst of all of that, there'll be those that will come on the inside and try to take down Black Re-Education from the inside. And so we had an unfortunate incident where I had to be off the air for 90 days because somebody came in and they did what they needed to do and they managed to get us off the air for 90 days. But we're still here. We're here and we're here to stay. Sunini is going to do what he has to do for his people. And we're waking up. Yeah.
Ashe, Sunini Nanini. And do you want us to open the session just by, recognizing the presence of the Most High here? And before we go into the main conversation?
Yes, it will be glorious. It will be glorious. Hallelujah. Father, we thank you tonight once more. We thank you for Pan-African Daily TV. We thank you for the staff. We thank you for Dr. Tata. We thank you for this platform where your people can come and hear and understand and participate in the process of awakening and coming back to the understanding of who we are and where we need to be at this time in history. And so we ask that you will watch over us, protect everything that we do, everything that we say, so that there will be no fault for those who would want to come and intervene and interrupt us to have a way. Watch over us and lead us in the path tonight, and cause your people gathered around the world, in every country, in every continent, in every sea, whether it be an island, wherever they are gathered tonight, listening to the show, that you will cause them to be connected with you and connected with the program that you are involved in, of waking us up and taking us back to the continent, the richest continent on earth, that which the nations need to survive. Without Africa, there is no survival on earth. And so, Father, help us to be good custodian of this continent and continue to open the doors for your people to return home. This is our prayer. We ask these mercies in your name. Sonini Nanini. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Sonini Nanini.
Yes.
Thank you. I mean, I'll just go straight to the first question, but I want to greet Cheryl. I want to greet organic African paradigm. I mean, the first times I'm saying Nkwame, it's not the first time I'm seeing you anyway, but I just want to throw out Kinom Omo, brother, you're welcome. Vusili, Buyisi, hey, I welcome all of you here. Okay, just drop a comment where you're watching us from. And we salute our elder. Elder, let me go straight. Why is it that in the Bible, or what is missing in the Bible when we say he, the creator? When we always talk about he, we thank he. What is the he thing in the Bible?
What has happened is that Europeans, when they took a hold of the Bantu scrolls, which is the documentation of our ancestors, they removed him and implant themselves. So when you say he, it is allowing for anybody to fit into that space. So they put a dog inside the space. They put a dog there. They just spell God in the reverse as a dog. And they put him in there, and then we get connected with this conversation. But when we go back to our languages, Isikosa, Swana, Shona language, the Yoruba language, the Igbo language, the Kikongo language, then we come back to the understanding of who he is. He is the creator, and we know him in a language that is peculiar to us, and they cannot pronounce his name, so they replace him with a he. You see, some places they put I am that I am, so that because every time you pronounce that or enunciate that name, it is worship, and they don't want to worship him, so they replace him with a he. You see them doing it now in society. They say, oh, we don't want to say he, she or he, we want to say it or that, or them and us, and that kind of story. They want to remove the person, you see? And so that is the reason why you got a lot of he said, instead of what is his name. They don't want to pronounce that name. because that name constitutes worship. And that is what separated us. That's how they get to separate us from our spirituality. It broke us because who is he? Because when you read the scripture, you say, and he, who is he? And then when you go connect with the he, they put a dog inside the space and reverse it and call it God. You see, this is what the nations have been doing to us all the time.
Okay, please, people, get this straight. Get this straight. Dog is the opposite of God. G-O-D, and we have a D-O-G.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, if you're not getting it, it is a D-O-G.
It's a D-O-G turned to G-O-D. They just reverse it on us, and then we connect with it because of the spirituality that is contained in the writings of our ancestors. We connect with the spirit of that writing, but not with the changes that they have made. And so the Most High, that we say Most High, what he does is that he ignores that which they have done and see the heart and the spirit with which we are connecting. And so he answers our prayers. But the reality is, who is he? You know, just imagine your daughter or your son comes up and say, she, good morning, she. You know, or good morning, he. You know, it don't make sense. And so it is this, we are trying to sort out and bring back the real names and words into place. And we are on a journey. It is not completed. I know there are those who will say to us, oh, his name wasn't Abraham. We understand that because we're going to get to the right names, just like his name is not Jacob. And now we know it's Akobi. And so we're going to get to that place, but we are on this journey. So join us on this journey. Pan-African Daily TV, you've got a part of this journey. You got a piece of the puzzle. I got a piece of the puzzle. Dr. Arikana got a piece of the puzzle. King Bugani got another piece. King Joshua got another piece. And we are bringing this piece together so that the whole world will know who we are. And you know what? We're taking over the whole world. The world will not know any peace. It will not know happiness until the children of Sunini Nanini are in charge of everything again. Then there will be true peace.
Powerful. Children, did you hear that? Say yes, Papa.
Yeah.
Okay. As a matter of fact, what I said came into this purpose because we know from the spirituality or that, I mean, it even shouldn't have a name because it's a creator, it's a two-space, and shouldn't even have a gender. I don't really know. So the he is in this personality of patriarchy in the Western sector of, you know, bringing this position. And so you would never hear that it was a she or it is Sunini Nanini, as we know from the context of our African spirituality, that we are oneness. We just one. And this oneness is not about a he or a she. It's a one being that all of us come from that. Am I correct to say that? Because it looks really like.
Absolutely right. You see, that is why it was imperative that when Adam and Eve were made, they were one. They were one. Mm-hmm. And he called their name Adam. There's no separation, no division. And only for the purpose of procreation, they were put into that situation. But if you look at the plant, like I did a series on the plant, lessons from the plant, the rose, in that single flower, there is male and female. And then the stamen and the stigma, the ma is the stigma, that's where the ovaries will be. And the stigma, the stamen is the man side of it. And that stamen fertilizes that stigma right on that plant. It doesn't go over to the sunflower, it stays on the rose, you see? And so in that one plant is male and female. There's a lesson from there. It never changed. But when we come out into this space now, people are now making a distinction between the man and the woman, and this one is more superior and this one is less inferior, and they got this conversation. That is not what we as on the continent had it as. This is a European construct.
That is very true. You know, what is a situation in which you will find every particles of divide and rule, always putting some, boundaries in everything, whether it's in terms of gender, it's in terms of hierarchy or systems, everything. But in where we're coming from as the origins, we of course do had that, but did we actually could divide in such a way and put some people on top and people around, and now we're going about and hearing that we're the ones that are even the primitives that don't even know how to organize and rule ourselves and manage ourselves.
Yeah, you see, and because we have left the ways of our ancestors, this was known to them. They lived this way. The woman is important as the man. The man is important as the woman. It's when we get involved with Europeans, then we get in this situation where this hierarchy that the man is there and the woman is there, and they do this division kind of stuff. But when we live in our natural habitat, the plant does not know that division. The plant don't know it. All they know when the time comes for a new plant or a new seed or a flower, the stamen fertilizes the stigma and the new plant comes. They coexist, Ubuntu, they exist for each other in the animal kingdom, in the plant kingdom. When we get over to us now, we get carried away with what the Europeans have been doing, and then so now we come into this space where we think that we could exist by ourselves. And that's why they've gone to the next level of trying to see if they can create babies outside of the womb, because this is the problem. They just think that we are separate. It's a different matter. And then now we find ourselves supporting that kind of behavior out of order. And that's why we have been given custody of the earth, the universal kingdom of Embu. We have the right attitude and understanding of what the Creator wants on earth.
Ashe.
Hallelujah.
Bayete. Go ahead, my elder.
Yeah, you say. So what we're doing now, we're trying to re-examine every single thing that was said to us, everything that was told to us in the scriptures. We're looking back at everything. We're looking back at circumcision. We're looking back at Lord's Supper. We're looking back at every element that they give us, because we're finding it is not so. It had not been so in the beginning. There's no man that exists without a woman, and there's no woman that could exist without a man. And that's why you have this kind of system in this where they want to operate separate from each other, and then the children become confused, because now you're telling that they got two fathers. Their mothers are two fathers, and their fathers are two mothers. Confusion. And so we are not saying that every nation on earth don't have the right to be how they want to be. Just be how you want to be. But don't tell our children that need to reassign their gender. We don't want you to have that conversation with them. We will tell them what they need to know. You see? And if you want to do maths, 1 + 1 is 2, do that with them. But don't tell them about gender reassignment and these kind of things that the other societies are involved in. And sadly, so many of our people get involved in these processes and cause a lot of confusion. And we find it among our Bantu people, we are struggling with the understanding of where we're coming from in Christianity. We try to bring over Christianity into the awakening. We try to bring over the teachings of Islam, the teachings of Judaism. We try to bring them over into this awakening, and then we say, for example, this Messiah. The Messiah, he was so unique in that he didn't have a father. He didn't have a father. That's what makes him unique. Then that is not our Messiah. See, that's Jesus' story. That's a Jesus story. That's a European story. The story here is that he was made exactly like us, as the scripture says. We are all made like him. He is made like us. He got father, mother. But the thing that is different with him is that he chose to obey the commandment. And when we got into the religions of these nations, the first thing they told us, if you're Christian and you can remember, especially Pentecostal Christian, they will tell you, you don't have to keep the commandments. That's the first thing at converts class. First, right up front, straight up rebellion. Don't obey the commandments that your ancestors were given to obey. So you're going to go astray, because that is what keeps us in check. If outside of the laws of and the statutes of the Creator, we will all go doing whatever we feel like. And so he has given us a guide so that we will be different to the nation. So now you can't tell the difference between us and the nation. And here is where the problem comes. So now, in this awakening that is taking place, we're all going back to the ways of our ancestors. We're rereading the book, and we are able, it is so glorious that we're able to see through the line. And when you see it, sometimes it's like if it's a revelation taking place live, you know. And so we have a situation now when we say, okay, let's go and look at this business of circumcision again, because we don't know. Let's see what happens there. And then we start looking into it. It might turn out that it was okay, but if it turns up anything that is different, we're going to challenge it and see where it leads, you see? And so when we get the story of the transatlantic slave trade, for example, we're going to challenge it. There's some of our brothers in America and parts of the Caribbean that they believe that they were there all the time. Of course, there were some. And it came out in this teaching with this Columbus story that Mansa Musa's predecessor, Abdul Bakari, the second, he left Mali 200 years before Columbus even was born and set sail behind him. So when Columbus got to the Caribbean, Columbus is finding all of these black people there. So he decided, hey, I call these people Indians now. They're Indians. All of you are Indians. You're not black. You couldn't be here before me. You see? And this is how Europeans are set up their history. So they decide what is going to happen. So you look at a group of black people and you call them Indians. But when you were trading with them, they had some spears. And those spears, you sent them to Spain to test them. And when you test them, they match the same component and composition of the spears that was in Mali the 200 years before you were born. So the people that you call Indian were black people. And because of that, you have changed the whole course of history. You see? Because people now think that it was not black people that he found. And so that's why we have to go back and re-examine everything. And it's a journey, and sometimes it's challenging, but you know, it's glorious, because in the whole scheme of things, what is happening is that our people, they are waking up to this reality.
Ashe. Hey, I'm bringing these announcements, and I'll be bringing it on the show. Please make sure we are connected, not just only to learn, but also spiritually. We have to intermarry. We have to intermarry. What I'm saying this is because we have to preserve. We have to preserve our legacy. We already see now that there are systems that are coming up where they begin to harvest the seed, you know, because of the recessive gene. They harvest the seed and the eggs, and to keep it for reproduction and fertilization without that. So we, to preserve our legacy and our seed for the future, we have to intentionally marry. We have to intentionally produce the seed. We have to intentionally connect us on the continent, in the diaspora, and where we are. And honestly, we are starting a series on the Pan-African Daily about our intermarriage, and that we are launching it at the African Diaspora Cultural Festival in Germany. We need to. Is it correct, my elder?
Yeah, more than correct. You know, I would say it here that you know, when our father Akobi left South Africa and he was sent to West Africa to get his wives, and he ended up with those 4 wives. That's why we are here today. We're made by 4 wives. So what Europeans have done, they come to the continent and they realize what was responsible for our production. And they harness that production by saying what our culture was devilish and wicked. So here was Akobi with 4 wives.
Yes.
That built this nation. Yeah. And so now Christianity comes on the scene and says, you're going to produce more than us. Now, the population of Europe right now is over just about 700 million. Eurasia becomes billions because of India and China that is producing lots of children. Now, Africa is producing lots of children, but how Africa has been fragmented, is that the Africans are in every part of the earth, so you don't get to add them up. Now just think about it. If all of us, well, I got 9 sons. I got 9 sons and 2 daughters and 13 grandchildren. Now, if all of my sons had 2 wives, for example, I'm not suggesting that they do, I'm not instructing them, you know, then that number would have been doubled. That's what Europe is afraid of. Europe is afraid of that young population in Africa. And if we followed our culture today, we would have been exactly like what happened when Rebecca was coming to be with Isaka up south in South Africa. She was told, go be the mother of thousands of millions. 1,000 and 1 million is a billion. So it's thousands, you say. Let's say 2. So 2,000 and 2 million, that is looking like 4 billion, 2 billion, right? 2 billion. So 2 billion people coming out from Rebecca alone. That is what the Creator wanted. He said, multiply and let your kind fill the earth, because we know that you are just people. You are going to protect the resources of the earth. You are going to protect the environment. You must be here in more numbers. That's why everything is focused on reducing the population of Africa, because we are a kind people. We are honest people. And so let us be in the majority. Let us make our children. Planned Parenthood comes up on the side. Let's abort your children. We're going to abort your children. Now we stop going to the abortion clinics like we used to do before. So now genocide is starting up on us. That's how they now want to go do genocide. They want to snake bite us. You see? So this is the problem. This is where the problem is. And if we could connect back with this, get married to the people in the diaspora, you will get them home. King Joshua was saying this thing on one of the shows. You get married and you go and you make children. You know, like my sons, I just pray that they all will give me grandchildren before I'm ready to depart. Give me plenty grandchildren, loads of them. I'm coming from a family, my mother told me that one of her sisters had 22 children.
Yes.
22 children. You see? Me, I seem to have stopped where my father stopped. My father had 11, just like me, 9 sons and 2 daughters. You see? And so this is what has to happen. And then when this happens, because of our goodness, we are going to take care of the environment. You know, all of the gold and all of them stone that you can put 2 wire on with a bulb and make light in the Congo, it was always there under the feet of the Bantu people. They never been digging under there for nothing. They live on top peacefully up until Europe came. Now look what our children are doing. They're digging in the Congo, half naked, half starving, to find minerals to give to Europe for nothing. No, we got everything. Get married. Get married. In Black Re-Education, apart from us changing the names of people, we're going to be going down that road to make sure that people get married.
Yes.
And produce children. Fill up the earth. Bring back your ancestors every time the child is born. Let them come back. But some of the times that we're not going to say it outside in the open. We got to do it. Some things we have to keep inside and do it. Just get it done. You know?
Absolutely. You bring in that, and you can imagine, Elder. I mean, we're coming from that background in the village where our mothers used to have 20, and they didn't even have any child support. There was nothing like child support, or there was nothing like, okay, all this mist that they're bringing, oh, we cannot raise them. And even when we relocated here, look at how I have two sons, and I have a foster daughter. But of course, I adopt a lot of children everywhere. But now what we are saying is to intentionally create, particularly the seed that we see in the gene, because that's what we are not thinking about. We just come up with the concept that we know that we multiply the seed, but understand that there are some seeds like the royal seed. The royal seed. Honestly, I'm telling you, at the Black Excellence Conference, an elder contacted me, came really and said, Dr. Tata, I want you to think about this. Just imagine that leaders like you, the kings that we're having, we would have to get a seed bank, just like we're talking about the fertilizer or like our seed. These are organic seed
Yes.
that has the warrior, the leadership skills, the connecting. I mean, it's not just this mix kind of mix, but you know, in those days, the elder said it was intentionally done. These
Yes.
are things that were intentionally done. And that we have to also start looking at that to see. And that's why you see, even in our own ways, they were pairing up. They were looking, our
Exactly.
parents were looking, our forefathers were looking for wives for their sons or daughters for, you know, because the royalty, the spirit, the bloodline, and some particularities were issues that they wanted to keep as
Yes.
a generational a seed of the future. I'm also researching on that, particularly because I think, honestly, everything that they're saying is the a science of or what we had all our African as a secret science,
Yeah.
which is exactly what you're saying was misinterpreted in all ways. And so the more they regenerate or degenerate, they also wanted us not to regenerate, but we have to exceptionally fertilize particular seed to keep them for the future. Am I correct?
Yeah, you're correct. And you have a place in the scripture where it said, don't give your sons to be husbands to their daughters, and don't take their daughters to be wives for your sons, because what you're going to be doing there, you're going to be breaking that seed bank, if you want to call it that. You need to do that within yourselves for yourself. So you see, that's DNA that they're not telling us about, you know. There's something in the DNA. See, all that I am doing now, I know that this was done by my fathers. And that came down in the genes. I remember when I was involved in politics in my country, and this man, Mr. Rogers, I remember him because he called me into his shop and he said, "You're from Plaisance, you know. I remember your uncle and them, your grandfather and them. They were the village leaders. They were the leaders in the village. They were involved in politics." He said, "I never know that. He's a stranger, but he knows that the family from there." And he said, "What you're doing is exactly what your grandfathers them used to be doing." Then I got pictures from my dad showing me my grandfather was meeting with a duke that came from England. So that's where they were. So it comes down in the DNA what you have to do. The DNA dictates what we are doing right now. What you're doing now, what I'm doing now, it come down into us in the DNA and it's being passed down to our children. Years from now, they're going to be doing these things. And then they're going to say, well, where did I get this from? I remember one of my sons saying, I just went on the keyboard and I began to play these keys. And I never learned any music. And then when I see you, because he grew up in America, right? He was born there and he grew up. He said, when I see you on the keyboard now, and then I say, okay, that is how I was able to go to this keyboard. But I saw my auntie doing it. My aunt was teaching me to play the keyboard. And so it's come down, the music come down in you, your purpose for life comes down in the DNA. It's transmitted. The data is held and it's passed down. That is why breaking the genes is causing the issue, because we're breaking up that which we're supposed to be doing instead of continuing in the lineage of our ancestors. So yeah, it's important that I don't want to put out here what we're going to do in terms of getting those things done, but we want to change people's names. We want to make sure that they get married. We produce the offspring, take control of the land, so that all of these Lebanese and Japanese and Zabanese, all of them that go into that land, we must be the people on that land taking possession of it and doing well. Yeah, they can stay in their country and they can buy from us. We don't mind. Stay there. You pay the money by the internet in Loomies, and we will send you goods there. You don't need to come to the shores of this continent anymore. Stay there. See? And that is a wisdom that is needed going forward. And so we're going to be doing these things. It's important that we do it, you know? And yeah.
I bring you royal greetings from His Royal Majesty, the King of Embo Kingdom, where we all belong, and from the Queen here, Queen of Embo. And exactly, you mentioned something. I mean, our currency is coming up very powerful, and His Royal Imperial Majesty reached out to me, and he's planning a comeback, and he's like, just like we're saying, a lot of things now are being done off stage, offline, in the background. So we do understand that even if you don't see us most of the time, please believe me, there's just a lot on the back in the background, and that's why the spaces are opening up that we connect now on person to person. Because honestly speaking, there's just a lot of things that we are going to paraphrase and not chew it and put it and serve it to you the way it is. So the time is coming where we have to go out and meet and teach and connect, and then share actually some of these things. I mean, in the past, I read about it, I talked to my grandparents about it, and I'm like, these were times when people went out. I think in the Caribbean or everywhere that we are, it's not different. In the night, in the moonlight, when a child was born or a soul transited, they had to bring back that soul that night. And so when they went out for night gatherings in these festivals, I mean, it was intentional that the elders would say, we have to bring back the ancestors that just go away. And each ancestor that was produced came back in that same personality. Doesn't matter how he had to. Now, that's just a side comment on that. But I want to come back to what you were saying. Now you see even the clear meaning why even the Eurasians or the Europeans don't recognize children that are coming from these mixed backgrounds. It is not something that started with us. In Germany, we call them the Afro-Germans. And these Afro-Germans, most of them are complaining about the discrimination or the marginalization because what we call the bio-organic Germans, this the blue eyes, that's what the Germans describe themselves, will not accept this mix because they say the bloodline is mixed. And I think we saw it even in the times of Hitler when we read. So it is not also wrong for us, the Abantus, the Ntus, the kingdom, us coming from the kingdom of Embo, to say our seed also should not be mixed. Is it correct?
Yeah, it shouldn't. You see, and when we say it, the same thing they say, when we say it, when they hear it, they take offense at it. You see, for example, now you see the promotion of black and white on the TV screens, for example, in England, that was very minimal. No, it's there. It's there, like if it's normal now. And so when we say that this is how we want to be, they take offense at it. But when they decided that that's how they want to be, for example, there are European groups that you can't get into. They'll never let you in. There's no way you can get in there. Even in just simply communities, you might not be able to go live in, right? Now, the difference with us is that we don't do that from a racist point of view. You know, we do that because this is who we are. We want to be with who looks like us, right? Not because of race. And so they struggle with understanding that we are different people. And when you mix up the story in that manner, you can get things coming back. And those children struggle a lot. I see them struggling in British society because of the mix and so on. But on a whole, it is not wrong for me to want to be with somebody that looks like me. It's just to be natural. Let it be. You be with but the problem comes when we're going to be horrible to each other. And one of the problems that is causing this is that Europe has never sat down as they sat down together at the Berlin Conference of 1884 and decide to carve up Africa and the consequences of that carving up. They have not come back to sit again and say, you know what we did was wrong. And as a group of us that did it, we need to come back and say we are sorry for this thing. And then we could start the process of healing. We are going to repair it. You see, they have not done that. They don't want to do it because I say, in my view is, if you don't apologize, it's because if another opportunity arises, you are going to repeat that behavior because you have never apologized for it. You see? Because somebody's going to say, but you say you were sorry, but look, you want to do it again. Oh, yeah, you know, I'm so sorry. Let me pull back again. But when you never apologize, you say, so what? I did it before. I never said sorry. Let me just continue doing it again. Europe got to come together at some point in history. They will be made to do it very soon. Come together and say, we have wronged you people. And we are sorry for what we have done. We're going to do everything to repair it. And this is what the scripture says. He will make them do it. And they're at that point. But I know I've deviated a little, but some of the brothers on the continent, as presidents and so on, they don't understand this. And so they're facilitating them again coming back without apologizing for the evils that they have done. And they're signing deals again with the same people. You know, you stole my cycle, and then you come back watching at my car to steal it. And I'm going to sign an agreement with you. You're a thief. You're going to thief again. You know? And so it's time has come in history for those who have been wronged to receive recompense, repair for that wrong. And those who wrong them must be man enough to man up and say, we have done this. They can't just go around the globe saying they will never apologize. We will never apologize for what we did. Then don't come near to the continent. Don't come there. You can only live with the riches of this continent. Stay away. Since you don't want to apologize, stay away. Let us stay with our people. Black marry black. Please, marry them plenty. Produce plenty more. Bring back the offspring. I remember the first time I stepped into my uncle's house in England here. He's late now. May his soul rest in peace. And I booked the door. And I saw that man, and I back up, you know. I said, well, why is my father sitting in this chair still? My father's supposed to not be here. He's dead. It's my uncle I'm watching at. And then I'm watching my little grandson in a picture. And I say, but look at my uncle's face. It's printed on this little boy like that. They come back. They keep coming back. They keep coming back. Well, you don't abort them. Don't abort these babies at all. Don't abort these children. Is your ancestors coming back? They keep coming, they keep coming, they keep coming. There's a purpose why they're coming. They're the only ones that Sunini trusts to fix this earth and bring peace here. No other people group. You see that the people group that was there doing their thing, they don't apologize for doing anything wrong. They don't. They can't take care of the environment. They can't take care of the earth. They can't bring peace. They can't bring equity. They can't bring justice. It's not in that person to do it. Because if they were able to, they would have started off by simply apologizing and fixing. And we know that they can because we saw them fixing other people of their kind that they've offended. So the Germans are paying reparations. British is paying reparations. That one is paying reparations, but to their own kind. But they're not paying reparations to those who they know and society can see that they've wronged. And when we talk like that, this is what get them offended. Why is he got to be the one to see it? We want to see it ourselves. Let's say it too, and do it, please. Correct the wrongs that you have done. And while they're doing that, our people need to cement ourselves and love each other. Love each other. What is love? So somebody says to me, you can't help who you love. And what they mean is that if you see a giraffe across the road, you just love the giraffe. No, it's not true. That's not love. You help you can decide who you love. Love your own. Love your own. Yeah.
Elder, we love you so much. I mean, the Pan-African Daily TV family, we miss you here so much. I mean, what else should we do to take so much energy and time away without connecting like this? You know, when I reach out to you, I say, Elder, I cannot live again without having you here. Elder, I'm not my senses. I mean, the family needs you. And I go behind every person that has been here. We don't have any business here. Our only business is to connect, repair ourselves, heal ourselves, build our people, build our continent, own our resources, and keep it for the next generation. That's our only business here.
Yes.
Am I saying it louder, Elder?
Perfect. Perfect. I'm just coming onto this show tonight after listening to them discussing in question time, people coming from other countries, and they use the word invading England. Invading, a strong word. That sounds like Columbus to me. And Europe has not apologized for Columbus' behavior on Africa up to this day. And in the Caribbean that he invaded, he saw people there. You see? But they use the word invaded because a couple of our brothers and sisters are crossing the channels and they're coming into Europe because they think that there is life in Europe, so they're coming here. These Europeans did the same thing years ago, and they were brutal in their approach. These people that are coming, they're not coming to terrorize. They say, oh, we think that we can get a little bit of money here so we can send home back for our people. And you call them invaders. Right? Now, if our people understand what is happening on the earth right now, if Europe could get sub-Saharan, or the whole of the Holy Land, minus its people, Europe will give you all of Europe and go to Africa. And if you want to exchange your land for their land, they will willingly say, okay, take, we go. All the wealth is there. All the wealth is there. So it's leadership on the continent who are, some of them are trying to wake up, who have this wealth, didn't know why it was put there, cannot value it the way they should value it. For example, I see coals going to Germany from South Africa, coals. But South Africa is in blackout. But it's the same people that say to us, oh, global warming, oh, climate change, don't mind your coal because you're polluting the environment. 2% pollution comes from Africa. The rest is from Europe. But Europe is now buying coal from Germany because of Russia. You see? Because they can't get what they want from Russia. And now Africa now is taking her coal, South Africa, and sending the coal to Germany, and while South Africa is getting blackout. Come on. Charity begins at home. That's what my mother teach me. If you can't love your brothers and sisters in this house, don't tell me that you love somebody from outside the house. Please, it's not true. You could help who you love. Love your own. Look after your own. And when you look after your own, then you now put yourself in a position to help others. And that's how our kings operated. A king was not a king just because he's a king. He could not have poverty in his kingdom. So when he kills every day, if it's an oxen and so many sheep, it's not that he could eat out of that. He's giving it to the people around him. Is everybody eating at his table? But somehow that now translates, whatever I have is mine. It belongs to me. A greedy. That's me. He looked like France. You know the image of France. I don't know if you ever saw that image. A big, burly, fat France sitting down, and a slim Africa is feeding him. And he can't even get off the ground, but he's still eating. Come on. We can't be like that. That's greed. We got enough on the continent. Look, the brothers have found that stone, that one stone, you take two pieces of wire, negative and positive, attach it to the bulb, and put it on the same stone, 2 different points on the stone, and it produces the light. Hey, these people coming to collect this thing to make electric car for the 4th Industrial Revolution. Where are they getting the resources? Africa. But Africa is not even in the 1st Industrial Revolution properly. All because of our leaders, trained by these people, and now the people using them to control us again. So, in my teaching, I would say that these leaders have to fall. And I really do believe. I know you have not heard about the prophecy that the teaching that I was giving on Victoria Falls, which in the Bible is the Kidron Valley, the Valley of Jehoshaphat, hidden by the name Victoria. That's why Livingstone got there, and he put her name on top of that falls to hide the fact that this is a valley of Jehoshaphat, or the Kidron Valley, inside the Bible. Because if you know that, you know that that is a place that the Creator will sit in judgment against the nations. Because the whole book is on the continent. And he is allowing us the privilege to open this whole book. And it's amazing when we see it. Some people from the outside see, wow, good. I like what he's saying. And so they come in now saying, could we buy it? Could we buy it? Could we do business with it? This thing is not for business. This is for the redemption of the black people. It's not business, you know, and this is what we're dealing with. So the time is here. The time is here. I'm excited because I can see that Lumi taking, backed by gold, backed by endless sunshine, the most precious and valuable currency. As you see the banks falling around the world, you're going to see them falling. What is going to rise is the limitless power of the Lumi. So what is going to happen? The nations are going to try to stop this process. They're going to try and see if they can stop it. But nothing, is Brother Bob say, nothing can stop us this time. They're going to try to kill some of the prophets. He says, in the words of Marcus Garvey, how long shall they kill our prophets while we stand aside and look? We need to stand up with our prophets. We saw His Excellency John Magufuli in Tanzania. If all the brothers were surrounding him, nobody would get him. But they all stood back and said, oh, let me stay in my corner because I don't know, they might come for me next. Hey, surround him. Look, you see, I learned lessons from the animal kingdom. You know, I would sit down and watch sometimes the animals hunting and so on. And you'd see that lion. He would sit down and he watch that wildebeest that is limping. And he times him and see if he can cut him off from the flock. Because once he stays in the flock, they can't get him. All the rest will fight that one lion and finish him. But when he cuts off the one, then he can kill it. That has been European strategy forever. Divide, rule, and conquer. So you got countries on the continent divided. All of them in little corners. So now you can manage them. Take down the borders. You know what's amazing? They're not even physical borders. They're mental, psychological borders. Psychological borders. This is how Europe sit back and laughing at us and say, look at them. We just draw it on the map and they put it in their brain. So when Julius Malema is busy saying, we don't want these borders, thanks to Namibia and Botswana, they've decided we're going to just use ID card, just go across the border with the ID card. Yes, we don't need that. See, when they do that, Africa becomes one. Then you have the United Nation, but this is why they killed Gaddafi. United Nation of Africa, one country. One continent, one country. And then we say with one voice, the Lumi is our currency. Like the US dollar, the Lumi is our currency. Everybody's using the Lumi. No, some of them are fighting. No. I want to keep my shillings. And your shillings is how much? Your shillings is 2,000 to 1. You don't want that. You want the Lumi. Everybody Lumi, save. Europe now wants to come and buy something from us. They're paying Lumi. And you stay on your continent. And we ship to you. Send your ship. Stay at the port. You don't need to come off. We dispatch the things to you and you go your way. So we decide how much we want to share instead of you come on the continent and keep our people in poverty. It's this kind of conversation they don't like to hear.
As if they have a choice, as if there's a choice.
I hope our people will absorb it. And see, the people in the Caribbean and the people in America, they need to understand that we are one people and that the base is sitting in Africa. Whatever you do, wherever you are, you must know that home is only Africa. Any place else, you're sojourning. You were taken there. You didn't originate there. And because of that, you will make your base there. If you get a piece of land, a nice piece of land, you keep it in the family, it is your compound. And there your family will stay. And you will create all the systems to deal with the outer world out there. No nation on earth could survive without the resources of the continent. None. They know. You see them coming with the balls now? Even France. When Mali said, enough of you now, then France said, okay, I'm going to change now. I'm going to change. France cannot change. France cannot change. France cannot be a first world country without the resources of Africa. How are they going to change? They want to come down to third world? If France is going to change, the first thing France needs to do is give back all the money that they took from Haiti. They made Haiti to pay them because Haiti dismantled European control, the first group to dismantle European control. And so, France, don't say you can change. Change. And let's see how you change. Give back Haiti the money that you took from her and is keeping her in poverty today. Santo Domingo on the other side is flourishing because they put their children there to balance off these black children on the other side. Keep them in poverty and you keep them in riches. You go to Brazil, you see the same division. 75 million plus is black people in Brazil, and they are the poorest. This is what, wherever we go, a brother was showing 1 million people came to Jamaica because it was like the major trading port. And after 1 million people came to Brazil, they ended up after a while with 700,000, 300,000. I saw Columbus, he transporting people. When they got to the place, they had, it's how many million? 8 million people in this recent series I'm doing. And after a couple of years, they ended up with 12,000 people. How do you get rid of 7.8 million people and don't understand that that is genocide? How do you transport over 128 million people in the transatlantic slave trade and don't know that it's genocide? How is it only genocide when Europe has suffered? How is it? And then you want us to celebrate with you when it's your time. Celebrate with us. You caused genocide in Africa. My sister, the conversation is endless, The conversation is endless.
I think it as a matter of fact, this is actually the African king. When the kings are rising and coming up together, you see the power, the energy. You see just one word, it's scattering every breaking all this petty things. I think one thing that you say that we should really keep. We heard Reverend Dr. Shock said it all the time. Nothing is wrong with us. Something happened to us, and the more we mingle, the more we begin to believe in those lies, the more we stand on it. For instance, like you just like there's never was any boundary, and even till today, that's why the study of Berlin Conference is very important, and we researchers and scholars and trying to build the social science of Africa, secret science, have discovered all that it is in the brain of a human to say it never happened even till today. Show me one wall that is separating Namibia or from the neighboring countries.
No.
But let us meet in Berlin and we see the physical walls. I mean, we see it's planted there, even when they kept it now for history. And we are going to do that tour, 2024, the Berlin Conference. We're going to go and I mean, this is a historical cultural study tour, okay? Because sometimes when we don't visit the spaces and actually be on that ground to say, but wait a minute, let me look at what a wall or a division, a boundary. We coming from the Bantu, we know that even in our own traditions, when we say that we had neighbors and boundaries, we talked about the rivers. It was the rivers or the hills that actually divided us to like that. Until today, you still have the river Zambezi and all these rivers in place. Apart from the fact that they just drew some things that we cannot even manage to say which one is which one. And you can imagine you take a country and chop them into pieces. They speak the same language, they eat the same food, they wear the same clothing, and that mind is there. Apart from you insisting all the time and say, no, you are not together. People that intermarry for years and centuries, have children, have blood that is connected, within the tribes, within the kingdoms, and move from one a kingdom to the other. And you think you can come and put a map on the ground and separate them? What about the blood, the genes, the DNA? What about that? We cross rivers in the village to go, and we would say, okay, we from the Bamingi people and the Widikum people in the same clan. Our forefathers would tell us, look, we are divided here by this river, and the rivers were divided just because of the farmland. That was even just it. The farmland, starting from here and to the other side, the people of Widikum were to continue feeding from here and their cattle and feeding for their own household, their community. That's how we were divided. That's how we control our kingdoms. But it was not in the hate that you would see. So if your cattle would cross my own, to eat on my crops on the other side, that's where you will see our own small petty quarrel and trouble coming together. And the argue was always, oh, your cattle have crossed my boundary to eat my own crops, so I don't have much crops left to feed my community and my families. That was how we quarreled, we argued, and that's how our boundaries were, because of our land, because of our cattle, because of our properties. But there was nothing like, oh, this is me because
passport,
country, and that, isn't it?
And so you see, what we are going to eventually return to is the ways of our ancestors. It is the way that they live. We have to go back to the ways of our ancestors. Forget those European borders. Because look, after all of the 1884 Berlin Conference, and still those borders are standing there as a means of separating us, to the point where we can say, you are intruding. You are invading. You don't invade. There's another room, like Julius Malema said. I come from one room in the house and go to the next room. You tell me that I'm a stranger in this place. I just come from one room in the same house, go to the next room, and you're telling me I'm invading. You are the invader. You don't belong to no part of this house. But you have created a system that makes me believe that I'm invaded. You see? And until we break those cycles, those are still the mental and physical blocks that we still have in place that need to be broken down. They need to be gone by yesterday. Don't know why they still exist. And it exists because of the pride of some of our leaders. They want to be president. They want to be president. They want to be president. They want to be prime minister. They want to be selfishness.
Elder, Brother Respan or a sister is bringing this, and it goes back deep into the Bible. And because when we study and begin to understand it in an African perspective, I don't think we'll have a problem. Like when he said, even Abraham and Lot, when they separated, they didn't say, oh, you go your own. It was always about, anything that came to us was always about our land. He said, okay, from here now, brother, this part of the land belongs to you and your family to feed your cattle and to raise. And this part of the land, and you see how boundaries were curved, not boundaries, but it always was about the leadership and our economic goods and which family, so that everything was proportionate in a means, in a way that we could all, feed our communities. It was always about the spirit of feeding, of nourishing our community, of building our community. I am a village girl. I grew up in the village. Of course, I went to the city, and the education of the village, the compound, the knowledge, how our ancestors were moving with their cattle from one place, what kind of dispute they had, you can see it all written
and
in the book.
Always started out. You see, I was thinking about the same example you gave when Abraham and Lot went up south when they came from West Africa, and they went out to South Africa. And then he met the children of Canaan down there, the Hittites, which is what the Europeans call derogatory Khoi people. And he met them there, which is the Hittites. And So when Lot was feeding, because Lot chose the plains of Jordan, right, and in the direction of Sodom in the north, and Abraham said, look, you go this side, I'm going to go opposite. But if you need me anytime, you call me, I'll come. You see?
Yes.
And don't let's make any trouble with the people in the land. The land is big enough. Let's feed, or let them get the place for feed, and we get our place for feed. Then they call Abraham and say, look, Lot is doing the same thing again. He's letting his animals come in here. Abraham said, Lot, you can't do this anymore. You're creating problems in the space. We got enough space here. Don't go in the space. And then create a little artificial boundary with wire, right? Now Europe come draw it on map and say, this name is Botswana. This name is South Africa. This name is Namibia. You can't go over there. You got to get passport to come over here. If you come over here, we shoot you. We never live like that. We don't know that kind of behavior. That's criminal. And so we adapt the criminality of the Europeans. And so now we are struggling. So the mother is in Namibia and her relatives is in Botswana. It's one family. It's one land. You know, the only difference is the house. That's it. And so we've got to break this now. We've got to break this, and we have to break it very quickly, because that's a marker for Europeans. They know for as long as we leave up those 1884 drawings on the map there in our minds, they still have the control. That's why they can come and talk to us. Equatorial Guinea, you know, I always like the example Dr. Arikana gave. Equatorial Guinea wants to have a conversation with China. How do you do that? It's like a giant, you're talking to, Jack is talking to the giant. You know, you can't. You need all of you to stand to talk to China, because he's separate there. Big. You can't go like little Equatorial Guinea. You want to make a treaty with them, with China. No sense. And so I think we're going to get there, but it's one of the things we don't want to do is misunderstand the Bible. The Bible is not a European book. The Bible is a European book that was made out from the Bantu scrolls. And we are able to correct it because of the DNA that is running in our veins. Because our ancestors wrote it, and therefore we are the children of those ancestors. We will interpret it. And that's what we're doing right now. So we can find all the locations. One day I will show you the temple, where the temple stood in the Kalahari. We're just fixing the drawings right now. It's there, you know. And so all of these places, when we see them, we're saying, the nations, they tried. They really tried. But we cannot live according to what they have put on the ground, the education system. We don't need that education that they're giving us. Our children needs to be hands-on. Them boys there, see them children that doing that little gold mine in there? They should be 2 days in school. This is just letting a little piece of the secret out, yeah? They should be 2 days in school learning the principles of gold mining. And then the 3 days, they actually do the gold mining. And they must all of them must have their own house from the resources. They must be given the education that will cause them to harness the wealth that they're getting, and they all from the age of 1 year old, from the time you make a child on the continent, that child must have land and have his house built. He just needs to move in and said, this is the wife that I want, and you move in there. That's how Europeans are living now off of our wealth. That is how they're living right now off of our wealth. And every one of our children are full of the riches. Whatever Sunini gave to us, he's given to our children. It belongs to our children. But no, we want to show off, you know, and be like the nations. You can't. They're different to us. They don't value the same things that we value. They're different value systems. And so we need to move away from them. And one of the things that held us in bondage, speaking about the Bible, is Christianity. I just wrote it down today. I'm writing it down because I'm going to do a series on it. It's a Christianity enslaved the Bantu people. That's the topic, a series I'm going to do, to show how this Christianity was used as part of the enslaving tool. It is that thing that kept us not questioning the book, what they have twisted. Psychological operation. And so now that we wake up and we're questioning it, we're seeing these realities. It kept us in bondage. It kept us in rebellion against our father, our ancestors. We don't walk according to them. We were told that our ancestors were pagans and they were wicked men. They had 3 wives. They were making plenty children here. Now go over to the center and abort these children so that your population could come down. You know, I saw this article by, I don't want to put it up on the screen here with you. I know how to use it on my screen. But the king, the prince, the prince.
You can put it, if you put on, go to setting, you load it in.
Okay.
If you want to, or you drop it in mine, I will put it. But you just need
you mean
click
to present?
or you click present.
Yeah,
I think present also.
Right. I'll show you.
Present. Yeah.
Yeah, I will share it. This prince was calling years ago. It's an article that was in the newspaper, and he was asking for the depopulation. We need to consider the depopulation of Let me share my screen.
While you're trying to do that, I just want to remind the audience that we have to all understand. I mean, if you even just for the sake that you took my ancestors, if you looted my artifacts, which are my ancestors, and you keep it, and now you're even agreeing that you looted it, that your ancestors looted it. So why don't we think that they can steal everything, even the word that our ancestors wrote? So as a matter of fact, everything is, you know, like they say, a looted, a thief is a thief, is a thief, is a thief, is a thief.
Yeah, it is. You know, and I when I come across these articles, I save them because they will come back to play after, you see. And so here was a prince, is not ashamed and afraid to go in the public domain in Monday, the 6th of November, 2017, and make a claim that you are arguing for the depopulation efforts in Africa. What is depopulation efforts? Did you see what I shared?
Wait, let me bring it up. It's just that, I mean,
yeah. Oh, I needed to put it in a better format so that it can be properly seen.
Is that okay?
Yeah, I'm just going to make it full screen so you can see it properly. Yeah. So how does a king in the 21st century, make a claim like this? Argues for urgent depopulation efforts in Africa. There's a call of genocide. You know, that's a call for the reduction. That's depopulation. That it means is English. That's why some of us have to come and learn the English so we can respond to them. You see, urgent depopulation efforts in Africa. How do you begin to make a claim like that as a prince? You know, this is other people. And that's why the British Parliament today can talk about people are invading their country. This is the words that they use, invading their country. How do you get to depopulate Africa? You got to invade Africa. You got to go in there under a guise, maybe aid, maybe medicine or something, and then you get to slip in something that will depopulate, reduce the population off. That's what depopulation means. And they're not afraid to speak in bold terms like this. You know, it's very unfortunate. Yeah, I can stop sharing that now. I don't want them to take too much of the interest. See, but we know what they say to us and what they're about. It's very unfortunate that they will talk like this, even in these times after they have been so unkind to us in the past.
That's so true.
Yeah.
My elder, what is it particularly when you look at the Christians that, because I think like you say, even the words that were actually not properly put in place, but the image also. And even when the book even says there should be no image, we should not make any image about Sunini Nanini. Now, what is it that the Christians, because these are two fundamental things. You talked about, you know, they created us in our image. We talked about this extensively, but I want to really hear from you, Elder. Now, if you talk about image, just like the image that you showed now, that's an image.
Yeah.
I mean, they can look at themselves and say, yes, they are all created in their image. And if they look at themselves, they see themselves.
Yes.
Now, what is it in the brains of the Africans when they read this chapter and say, He created us in an image? And I look at the picture that they are showing, it is not my image.
You
It's
see,
not brown or black. What is it?
you
What
see,
does an image represent?
image. Look, the Bible is so clear. If I share again, I'm just sharing the Bible itself. I'll go to the book where that is written in. I'm going to go to Genesis chapter 5, right? And it's going to tell you very clearly here. If I can just share that again, present there, share. That's the scripture that I want to look at here. It tells you very clearly, in no uncertain terms. It says, if you bring it up when you're ready. This is a book of the genealogy or the DNA.
Right. Wow. Okay. Now I think we'll go there.
Yeah. It says here, he said, this is the book of the genealogy or the generation or the DNA carriers of Adam. And this is in the day when Suninini created Adam in his likeness, in the likeness of Suninini made he him. He's saying that Adam was made like Suninini, his image. That's why when the Messiah comes on the scene, he says he is the express image of the person of the Creator. In other words, the Creator, Adam and Eve, look like the Creator doesn't look alike. If you look in the mirror, when you see you see the Creator. You just saw the Creator.
Exactly.
That's why when Philip said to him in the book of Acts, he said, is it the book of Acts? He said, no, in one of the books, I think it's John. He said, show us the Father. He said to the Messiah, show us the Father. And then he said, Philip, have I been all this time with you? And now you asking me to show you the Father? Philip, if you have seen me, you have seen the Father. I am the express image. I'm a look-alike. Every Bantu is a look-alike of Sunini Nanini. And Europeans know that. That's why Europeans give us their image as the Savior. Your Savior got to look like you. That's what the scripture is saying. He made him in the likeness, in his own likeness. Male and female, he made them. And I use the word Ibukan instead of blessed. And called their names Adam in the day when they were created. And look what happened after. Adam lived 130 years, and he now got a son in his own likeness and image too. So when Adam looked at Seth, his son, Seth looked like him. And when Sunini looked at Adam, Adam looked like Sunini Nanini. But they don't want us to read this. They put their image in our mind. So we're thinking, oh, my Savior, Jesus is my Savior. No, he isn't. He's a European construct. And you know the thing about Jesus, that image, he never existed. He's a painting of Michelangelo. And then we buy into this painting. And then we went as far as buying into a story called A Virgin Born. Even though it defies our understanding, they say, no, you never could tell what God can do. And we make ignorance the excuse. To get a child into this earth, you need the DNA. Now the books are open, we can talk like this. You need Y chromosome from the male and X chromosome from the female. How does he come in here without X chromosome or Y chromosome? Did he get X from his mother? Okay. Where is his Y? Because he's male. You got to get Y. Who gave him Y? His father. And you see, what Christianity has done, that's why it's a tool of the enslavement of the nations. It has captured our minds and our imaginations to the point where we are finding it difficult to let go of this thing. Even when we read that we are made like this, and he's made like us, we find it difficult.
I mean, that's this point, my elder, is what I still don't understand. Like Sister Kalena is saying here, it is written, but how does our minds not? You go even in the households on the continent, and some of our Christians here, like you say, Christianity is really, really one of the problems. You see this image on the wall, and they pray to that image. And that problem is simply because in their mind, this image of this Michelangelo, or this even these this powerful actor, even crying and saying, "No, I just acted that role. It never was me." But I can just say from basic understanding, if somebody said, "I made you," and this issue of even making, we look at it in the African secret science, is like, that's why they don't use some terms like your mother gave, they say your mother birthed you. No, your mother created. You were created from these two seeds. And so for us, we think the fact that they don't use that process of bringing forth the next seed as creating gives the normal meaning that people would understand that this is a creation from the creators. That's why they had to translate the creator into an illusion. But now, if I look at it imperially, and let's say I created an image of me, so automatically I look at my mother, my father, those are my creators.
Yes.
But why they keep taking these words, particularly the English words, to represent the issue of creating a life into birthing a life, and that word birth doesn't actually mean any sense. You create, like we create anything. Let's just say you invent, and so it's an invention of somebody that is the owner of it. And so this misinterpretation is so deeply rooted in the psyche of the African when they hear, "I created you in the image." So the image of the creator must look like me.
Of course. Exactly. And it is. When you go to the book of Revelation, right? Revelation chapter 4, this man was writing, he has this vision, John. They call him John, but in the Swana language, his name is Likanyani, right? Now, Likanyani had this vision, and in this vision, he saw the heavens open, and he saw a throne set in the heavens. And he said the one that was sitting, there was one that sit on the throne. Right away, we know he's the creator, right? And he said, now he proceeds to describe the one that is sitting on the throne. He said, he that sat on the throne is to be looked upon like a jasper and a sardine stone. He's seeing black and brown people. Jasper and sardine stone is black and brown. He's seeing this black and brown people. But you see, what Europeans did, they were the missionaries. So they teach us the theology. And we repeat the theology. Now we're reading for ourselves since 2020. We had enough time to start reading. And so there's a verse I got in front of you here right now. Before I read that verse, let me tell you about the flower. Let's look at nature, for example. Here is, I'll give you the example. The stamen is the part of the flower that got the things that could be fertilized, right? It will go down like a fallopian tube and everything, and it will fertilize the egg in the ovary of the stigma. This is biology. The stamen, it's the little petals there will go and they fertilize. Now, in the ovary is the egg, just like the female, right? Is the ovary, exact name. When these things go down there and they fertilize, they call it the sperm. It goes in and fertilizes. The egg now becomes a seed. Up until then, the egg is an egg. The egg cannot give birth to nothing until it is fertilized by the stamen. When it is fertilized by the stamen, then the egg becomes a seed, and the seed will now give birth to a plant of its kind. It don't become the rose don't give birth to a sunflower. It's got to give birth of a plant of its kind. So your creator can give birth to something different. You can't be different to your creator. He made you. Now, it's written in the book of Hebrews. This is the last verse I'm going to show you here. It says it very clearly. If you can put up Hebrews for me, please. It's in Hebrews here, chapter 2. And it tells us that how he was and how we are. It says here in Hebrews chapter 2, it says here, but we see Msindisi, that's a man that they changed out to Jesus. All the word means is savior, but it's an Isikoso word, right? So we replace it. So we see Msindisi, who was made a little lower than the angels for the suffering of death, crowned with glory and honor. All right? So we know we're talking about him. Then he says here, For both he that sanctifieth, which is Msindisi, and they who are sanctified, which are us, are of one. They are of the same in every way. For which cause he is not ashamed to call them brethren. And then he continues on to say, for as much, and this is the verse that is of importance, everybody should go back after tonight and read this verse. For as much then as the children, that is us, are partakers of flesh and blood, he, that's the Savior, Msindisi, the Bantu man, he also himself likewise took part of the same flesh and blood. So we all came in here, flesh and blood. To come here, flesh and blood, you have to have a mother and father. And that's how he was made. Ain't no mystery. And he goes on to tell you a little more. He says, for verily he took not on him the nature of angels, but he took on him the seed or the DNA material, the X chromosome of Abraham. That's how he became male. Because his mother couldn't make a male unless she get an X chromosome from a male. And he tells you that he took on the DNA material from Abraham. Who got it from Noah? Who got it from Lamech? Who got it from Seth? Who got it from Adam? Who got it from Suninani? That's how DNA travel. So when the missionaries came, they tell us the story, and we just simply regurgitate the same story without reasoning and thinking it out. And so everybody's hooked up now. Oh, did he just say that elder just say that Jesus is not mysterious? He's not born of a virgin? Yes, I did. He never was. He never was born of a virgin. He had mother and father. That's where he get his X chromosome. The books are open. You can't be made without X chromosome. If Mary is the mother and she could only give him Y chromosome. She could only give him X chromosome. He becomes man because he got X and Y. Got a Y from the father. If Mary gives birth to a child and she give the child an X chromosome, and the father gives the child an X chromosome too, because only the man got both X and Y, then the child Mary is going to get, if she got two X's there, will be a daughter. That's the story of the biology. It's never changed. Will never change. He set it in motion. It is in the plant. It is in the plant. They fertilize according to their own image and likeness. You see no giraffe producing no lion. Never. You see a rhinoceros give birth to a kangaroo. No, please. It's not going to happen. It's not happen.
But it's just the same thing. Like, we should have just been birthing like that. It's like, some theories just don't start and disappear. It's a continuity, like we're saying. It's a genealogy. It's just the same thing. Like if there's a theory, a scientific theory that said, "Oh no, we never were humans. We came from animals," and the simple question would, why we are not just being animals again, or giving birth to that as a a progressive thing. So I think we just have to drink water, mind our African business, go back to the way
Yeah,
we
of
go
our ancestors.
through stories that they tell us that you can still research today. I talked to my mom and I asked my mom, what happened? What happened in those times of when the people came? And he said they came first as missionaries, and that my elder sister was the first daughter that she gave birth to in a white clinic setup. And this doctor apparently is a German, and my mom still remembers his name. And he said after that, when he gave birth to to my sister, they went to the village. I mean, in a normal village setup, in 1 and 2 weeks after, this guy called all the chiefs and the neighboring village to bring all their artifacts and the traditional stuff and our secret science to the palace, and that he was coming to do a lecture with them. He was coming to tell them something. And my mom told me, you need to see those things when they say those powers. We had clots that would fly, that would transform the whole space into red. We still have it today in some of the villages in Cameroon. And she said when they went home back, I mean, it didn't even take up to 3 weeks. They brought up all these things, and this guy came, Dr. Hap. Well, Hap is a typical German name, and this guy came and was talking to the chiefs, the evil of those things, why that cloth, when there's a problem in the village, that cloth would transform the whole space, the whole village will be red. It will be red. A piece of cloth would just, and he spent 3 days in the palace, in the village, with the royals. And my mom told me when he left, all those things disappeared. That cloth was there, but never would perform anything again. You know, everything that was recorded. And the stories, I'm documenting them because she's elder now. And like Professor James Moore, we have to go into the villages and talk to our elders. We're talking to the people on the continent. They knew something. They know it. All of they are our books. They are the books that we keep saying that we don't. We don't just because, particularly most of us who migrated or in the diaspora, we have been brainwashed to understand that our parents were illiterate. They did not go to school, so they don't know anything. That's the biggest myth that we know. So when we come, because we studied and we're like, oh, my mother cannot read and write, and that, talk to them in their language, in the languages and that we know. They will give you all the story. Yes. So our wisdom, our books, and our everything are our elders in the villages. Our great-grandparents, ask them any question. When the European came, who did you see? What happened? Today, even in the villages, we had all those names like Andreas, or you could see when we came back to Germany, and I'm looking at that and I see those names. I said, but even my father was called Andrea, and Andrea is typically a German name. And you see, and Cameroon, we know, was actually under the German colony. So you see, even most of those footsteps and those footprints in the names, in the ideologies, or even some colors that they use, you could trace it to that colonial period. But like I said, these are living stories. When we're talking about our artifacts today, my mom said, I'm a living witness. We saw it. It was in these days where cameras or videos, then we would be showing pictures of what it is. So we have to stop that stupid or that foolishness of thinking that our parents are elders because they didn't go to school. They don't know. Of course, that's why they still have the right brains to be able to tell us the way it is, because they never were diluted.
Yeah. That's a problem. They say that illiterate. What is illiterate? Because you don't know English.
Exactly. That's also a topic we have to talk about.
People were writing the books that the Europeans collected was from our people. They were in Timbuktu, the Kingdom of Mali, the best university at the time. In the 1500s, just Columbus was doing his business in the other side. In the 1500s, Babylon was on the Nile River in Africa. And I got those maps here, right? Babylon was there in the east, and Mali was operating in the West Africa. And Timbuktu was the best university. There's where Europe collected documentation. Who was writing them? They were not written in English. You don't have to be English before you become literate. No. So the French are not literate. And the Germans are not literate because you can't be English. No. We knew what we needed to know in our language. Right? Long before they came, we were speaking while Europe was still in the caves. Our ancestors were speaking when Europeans were still in the cave. When I say the cave, among the Neanderthals, they were not speaking, they were doing signs. And even to that was language for them. But you see, the problem comes when they came in and they couldn't access us because of that power. The power you just described is what they had to break. They had to break us, disconnect us from the power. So they start by changing our names. So when you change your name now, you take on a European name. And when you take on a European name, you lose the contact with your father's house. It's broken. I can't go back to my father's house because I'm now European. So it is the ones that stayed on the continent. And just imagine 4 generations down, 400 years. I don't know my connection. My sons and their children will never know their connection to the continent because the house is broken. I carry the name of my father, Robert Headley, all of it. Robert Andrew Headley, all of it. Yeah, good. So now I've got to change that now. And then my children, they don't bear English names. So they all now got to change and come back as I lead them back to my father's house.
Ashe.
You see? And that's what has to happen now, because once we go back onto that power, Europe can't match the power. They know that power that makes us climb up walls without ropes. They know that power. They have to break that power. And the way to break that power is to make us abominable. That's why whenever a new president takes the continent, for example, Kenya, Christian Amanpour reaches over there to sit down to have an interview. When are you going to know? You know president now, isn't it? Are you going to let them boys sleep with boys? He said, no, we don't have no interest in that. It's not our culture. That's what has to continue to happen. Let Europe be Europe. Let them be happy and rainbow. We be how we are. We don't have to follow them. They're not our ancestors. We follow our ancestors. That's how it has to be. And so the power is coming back. The power is coming back. He is returning the power to his people. As we come and reconnect with him, he is going to reconnect with us. And it's because of our ancestors. That is why he's doing it. The promise he made to them. And so that's where we are at in history. Hallelujah.
Ashe, Bayete. Thank you so much, Elder. Thank you so much, people. I want to apologize for our sister, Adele Yini. I mistakenly, just like I wanted to put this thing out and it clicked on the timeout. I think the stream threw you out, but I just see that you become a member. Thank you so very much for that. But it was a mistake. I already wrote there. In punching the button to put on the script, and it just went on to, I think, timeout or something like that. I'm truly sorry. It's my bad. Yeah. And for all of us that are here, please, hey, thank you so very much. I think we have learned the biggest message. And Elder is here tonight. And I see a lot of people like, it took us so long to connect back and stuff like that. Do not forget, in case you'll be watching this show, and he's not, you're looking at him and you cannot locate him. Elder, please just tell them you are back again and where they can find you. But in any case, they would always get your contact from Pan African Daily, of course.
Yes. We are on 6 channels. We are on 6 channels. We are on 6 channels. We are on 3 Facebook pages. That is Nkosi Zona the first. And then we are on thaikingdom.com, and it's on my personal Facebook page, Robert A. Headley. And then we are in Caribbean, Bantu Caribbean Productions, we are on UKA Bantu Exodus, and we are on Black Re-Education TV. So we are on 6 channels, and we'll be adding more. We're going to be TikTok, all of it. Every place where this message needs to go. And those who try to block us and those who try to take us down, we ain't coming down. We're doing a good job. There's a place in South Africa named Unu. And Ezra, the prophet, when he came from Babylon into Sudan, they were Sambalat and Tobiah, they were encouraging him to stop what he's doing and come down to meet with them in the plains of Unu. And he said, Uno, I am not coming down to meet you in Uno. Uno, come up and meet me. Me, I'm not going down to Uno. We are doing a good job here, and we're not stopping this good job. We are going to deliver this message and deliver these children of Sunini Nanini back to the continent in respect and in dignity. That's what we are doing here. And some people can't get connected with this message, and they come in for different purposes, and Sunini will just move them out. This is where we are. We're going to be here, and we're going to be expanding very soon, Dr. Susan. All the videos for Black Education TV will be seen live in the website. The website is Black Education TV. All the music played is built into the website. You don't have to go to YouTube to watch them. They're right there. You just click on them in the channel, in the website, and they will be playing right there. And that's the direction we're moving into, to make sure that we're always there to make sure you get this message. And we will continue to work with Dr. Susan and Dr. King Joshua, King Bogani, and all those who are involved in this process of waking up these people at ADDI. We're going to continue to work with all of the people that are working for the return of the Bantu people and the children of Sunini Nanini, the black and brown people that came. It's only Africa that we're producing black and brown people. They're the children of Noah. Yeah. And we're working.
Wonderful. $1, one Africa. Our champion is here, right here in the house. We salute you so much, Elder Marvin, and all of you that are connecting. And one last question. We are asking, are we going to have the Black Education TV at the international meeting in Germany this year in June? Because we are replacing a lot of structures out there. Elder Ash, before we were still in the mindset of Babylon, when we started that project 22 years ago, in the beginning, we used to have what we call the Sunday service, like what we know today. Yeah. And when we were called and chosen out of Babylon, we stopped that project. But a lot of people are still coming, and particularly on Sunday, which is the closing day, they miss it. And because we keep telling them, we are out of Babylon in this kind of a spiritual construct that we used to fed. We've grown, and we have connected and we're getting the knowledge from the Most High directly. It is, but they want to know. A lot of our people want to know. Now, I gave the date already. I posted it's 1st to the 4th of June. We would like to have you to minister and to hold that conversation on Sunday about this exactly what we're talking about. So save your date and be there. I think there are times now that we have to prioritize certain things that we're doing, and to know that it's on purpose, it's on a call, it's on a mission that we're chosen. And so I just call upon you to save your date in your calendar.
So you give me the date again. Is it 14th?
No, 1st to the 4th of June. So, but the Sunday day is the 4th of June. So you could definitely, you're in the UK. I mean, flight to Germany is very easy from the UK. And yeah, it will be nice so that we already program you as a guest on this topic and on this teaching. That would make a lot of sense, because now that the awakening and the message and the teaching, and we're taking that responsibility, doing our things, people are connecting and expecting now to see our faces also, and to get that knowledge. So we would start leaving our spaces, our digital spaces, and actually meeting our people, touch them, feel them, speak to them, look at them in the eyes, and say it the way it is. So we're reserving that particular forum for you as a guest. Yes.
Thank you very much.
Normally, yes.
Yeah, I'll do my best to keep that appointment. I'll do my best to keep that appointment. Yeah.
No problem. I'll be coming on Black TV, Education TV, and
Yes.
all the other channels. A lot of questions are coming up. People asking how we want to actually use this kind of platform where we gather to connect our teachings. Now before we used to have all those forums, and the teachers were not us, and now we have to go back to the Renaissance and to the re-education, particularly like you're saying. You didn't just say education, you say education. So it's the kind of like the reprogramming of this, and each space that we connect has to be that platform where we teach our people and show our faces. So it will be a pleasure, but I
Thank
will
you.
send you a private invitation, and yes, and the program
Thank you
directly to
very
you.
much. And,
Thank
and
you.
you're always welcome on Black Education TV and our sister channels. Please, you tell me when you want to be here, and you will be here. Yeah.
Yes, thank
Thank
you
you.
so very much. So what do you want to wrap up and just like a takeaway as we going out? We have just 10 minutes into it. Then you want to
Yeah.
wrap up with that?
Yeah. I would say to every single person listening, um, don't discard the scriptures. Not and this is the danger, but the fact that Europeans have handled it, it's enough fuel for us to not want to deal with it. And so we've been throwing out the baby and the bathwater. We don't want to do that. We are
Mhm.
correcting it, and it is correctable because the information that our ancestors put down there, they wrote it down. And our DNA is coded with it. You're going to get to understand DNA eventually. A little drop of DNA can hold trillions of terabytes on it. Little drop of it, and they know it. And so coming down in our DNA is what our ancestors did. And so we are doing exactly what the prophets back then were able to do. Jeremiah,
Mm,
Joshua, it's the same thing we're doing. When we ask him for things, he's showing us very clearly, you know?
mm,
And so don't throw out everything. What we need to do is give time for us to correct all that has gone wrong. As we correct what has gone wrong, let us embrace this truth. Africa has always been the home of the Bantu people, always been the home of Black and brown people. Whether we came off during the time of Mansa Musa's predecessor, some people came off then, but people have always been coming off and they always be going back. Never abandon Africa, because that is where Africa is born in you. It's part of your DNA. That's the soil from which you were taken. That's the jasper and the sardine stone. And so let us never turn our backs on the scriptures. Some of it is not right, it's twisted, but we're going to fix it. And we're going to put it out there in all the form. So Black Education TV, Pan-African Daily TV, we're working together. ADDI, we're all working together for a common good, and that is to bring back these people to the position of leadership. The world is never going to know peace until the universal kingdom of Embo is in charge. And we say that in a manner that there's much more to be said that cannot be said in the front. But Sunini Nani is taking over the whole world. Every space is going to be taken over by us. And the whole world will be happy that we did, because they will know peace and they will know happiness for the first time. Hallelujah.
Last thing, please, Elder Dongo. You see, sometimes it spins around, but it connects the dot. Now, from Elder Robert, we knew you. I know you, first of all, like Abraham, right?
Yeah.
So, and I asked myself, I talked with King Makonga this. I said, but some things is like you're saying, it's a DNA thing. It's a thing that is coming. It's a truth. Look, we have Abraham, and that is Brother Headley on Cozy now. We have you, Joshua, and we have
Yeah.
King James.
Yeah.
These are all in who wrote the book King James. We have Professor James. If we would just say King James, and then
Yeah.
we have Yeshua in the Bible, which we know, and we have the father of the nation, Abraham, and that was your name. Is it a coincidence? There's three things coming out.
You know, what happens is that we keep coming back. We keep coming back. You know, um, sometimes you ask yourself, why do I have to do this? You know, why do I have to be the one to be doing this? Can I not just be like the person that is just living his normal life?
Oh
But
my
then
God.
there comes the times when the creator pulls you out and he said, no, this is what you have been prepared for all your life. And you will know that you will see the road signs. You know, I was in Botswana, right? I was there as a teacher. They took about 365 of us, one for every day of the year, when the time was AIDS time, killing everybody out. And I was in this country and I was saying, this country feels funny. It feels so different, so peaceful. I did not know that it was Jerusalem. I didn't know that it was within the borders of Jerusalem and that the temple stood there in the Kalahari. It never done, but I could feel this peace inside, but couldn't explain it. And that's how it works with the DNA. You know that you have been called for a purpose, but that purpose evolves or becomes real as you yield yourself to the calling, and then it becomes so apparent that you are made for this purpose. Hallelujah! And
Hi,
that's what.
yes, because I wanted to bring this aspect to our people to understand that even when we talk about the names, it is everything has a spiritual meaning, and we should understand, just like we say all the time, we're spiritual beings having a human experience. But even the significance of these names of those that are chosen and speaking this gospel in a powerful way are also the masters of the Bible, whether
Yeah,
it's a Professor King James or it's Abraham, the father of it, or Yeshua, Joshua,
yeah,
Maponga,
yeah.
you know. So even the names and the leaders and the voices and the watchers that are coming up, it's there. It is written before us. Whether we change it to something else, it's Abraham, it's
It's coming
Joshua,
right back. It's just
it's
coming right
James.
back.
It's James. You
You
understand?
can't get away, you can't get away from it. It's there.
Yes, like we cannot, like we really cannot
That's the
run away
DNA.
from it.
That's the power of the DNA. When
Exactly.
when we learn more about it, then we'll see how powerful it is. You are your ancestors. You are
Yes.
your ancestors. You are your
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you so very much.
You're
Thank you, my
welcome.
elder. Thank you for being here. And
Thank you.
please, all of you, make sure you are going to click and subscribe on on African Re-Education TV, on Black Re-Education TV. I'm so sorry. You see it right there. It's everywhere. We all know it. We've been following it. Okay. And so please let us blow our thanks and our praise and know that this is the time. And I was not feeling really well, Elder, but now that you're here, honestly, I feel better as you prayed and you gave us the
Yeah.
healing. That's the
Let
power
the
of
healing
connection.
virtue flow from the crown of your head right down to the sole of your feet and make you every bit whole. It's gonna happen.
Share.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. So we see us very soon again, Elder.
Thank
Thank
you
you so
very
very
much.
much for
Thank you.
being here.
I'm going
Thank
to
you.
start the show in another 2 minutes. That's on Black Education TV.
Exactly. Yes, that's why we have to go. Thank you so very much, Elder.
All right.
Yeah,
Thank you,
we'll
everybody.
connect
Thank you.
over there. Yes. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Wow. Thank you. Thank you, all of you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Oh my God. Sister Ayinde Oladeyi. Oh my goodness. You just like wash the whole the space with your super chat. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for all of you that have been here. Honestly, I really want to respect it. Like I said, please just remember me in your prayers. Drink your water. Say it's, I'm not, the couple of days I'm not feeling well, and yes, it's okay, I'm not sick. That's what I know. Oh, it's a male. Oh, sorry. Sorry, Oladiye, I didn't know. I say it's a male. Anyway, whatever came to me that you that spirit, it's very okay. Please, I want to make one announcement very, very clear. Very, very clear. We are starting the Pan-African dating. When we say dating, I don't like that word dating because it's been misused. But remember, like we already said, we want to intermarry, we want to connect and we know these things. But sometimes when we come out in the light to do, we always feel like, oh, you know, because they've abused the word. But honestly, I grew up in the village and I saw how my parents, my forefathers brought, you know, us together, the male, the female, the kings, so that we could actually pair up for the good of the nation, of the race, of the people, of the generation. So honestly, we're going to start on Pan-African Daily TV. And this, we are launching it at the international meeting in Germany, at the African Diaspora Festival in Germany. We have to start connecting, dating in our age group, in our level, connecting together those that have to bring forth the next generation. We have a lot, I've seen a lot of sisters, and everyone just feel, because we are in this construct. I want to make it really clear. We are in this construct, and we were never like that. We got married even at the age of 80, at the age of 90. We met our pairs. Okay, but I've seen a lot of men that are single and they feel, oh no, because I'm old. Oh no, because I'm aging. I've also met sisters and queens, beautiful women that are still filled with light and power, you know, to warm us up, to heat us up. And you hear the complaint, oh no, I'm old. Oh no, I'm this. And I begin to question. I asked my mom, in your days, did we have this sickness of people feeling old? When I know that we had a doctor, I know, I see from your comments already, everybody does. I know, because Professor James taught us here, talk to the elders. And for all this, why you see, I'm telling you that I'm going crazy. My head is like spinning because I talk too much to my mom. And because she's elder, my mom is 80, in her 80s, middle 80s, and she's been telling me a lot. And because I'm questioning her on a lot, all right? And so there is no human being on earth that doesn't have a partner, should not have a partner, and there's nothing like age involved, or there's nothing like, oh, now I have to feel in that. No, we are living in a crazy culture where we keep dividing ourselves and thinking we're doing the right thing. This is not our culture. Even at the age of 90, we had our pairs in the same age group or in the same, you know, divinity group. And so that's what we want to start here. We don't want to anybody that feels single, anybody that feels you can do it by yourself, that you say, all right, I am on my own. Yes, I want to be like that. But you need a partner, you need a companion. We must not really always have those kind of construct that they used to oblige us, because that was not even our way of marriage. And I'm going to do a particular topic on this, how we connected, how we built up to our age when we transited. We never were like this. Where is this culture of singlehood? Where is this culture of I'm alone, I'm enough? Where is this culture of, oh no, and we've buried in ourselves, and we have stayed like that until we become something else. We love loneliness. We love living alone. Like the system has brewed us out of our normal spirituality. No, we are a people to people. We are a people to people. We are a people to people. Remember, in the village where I grew up, I never saw any elderly woman or an elderly man died alone. No, they always died in companion of each other. Even if there were widows that were left behind, hey, they actually would still connect, you know, and have companions. So we are starting a series on the Pan-African Daily, please. And how is it going to happen? I want to know people that are single, whether you are young, you are middle old, or you are age, men or women, please send me your profile. Send me your profile. I am looking for a wife. I am looking for a woman. I need my companion, because your partner is somewhere also feeling lonely. But the need for you to connect, the need for you people to come together, something has to bring it. We have all been in a system of where people enjoy living alone, where people think living alone is a lifestyle, where people choose to die alone in their pain, no one to even talk to, where people actually, we are really divided and maintain in this kind of a graveyard lifestyle, and we enjoy it. No, that's not African. That is not a Bantu. That is not the spirit of the Bantu. That is not the spirit of the kingdom of Embo. Who taught us that? Because, yes, we have been taught so that you can even exist. But Ubuntu simply means I cannot live without you. You cannot live without me. Doesn't mean that we must really cohabit together or that. No, but it means no human being should be single. Women, you need to have how many kings as you want in your life. Kings, you need to have many queens as you need in a life. But what we want to stop is this issue of being lonely. No, you have a partner, you have a friend, you have a lover, you have a companion, people that you match together, people that you mingle together, people that you go together, you flow together in your own age groups. There was nothing like, oh, because I'm an old woman, oh, now I don't have, oh, now because I have to live, oh, because I'm an old man, and we stay lonely and sad and carry our pains and just go and transit without them, without even telling us stories, without even giving up. That is wrong. It has to stop. And now we begin to patch up, create some other kind of patch up, satanic structures. No, I have my sister now. No, we are enough. Oh no, I have my brother now. No, not even brother in the bloodline or in the way that we're talking about. You do understand what I mean, okay? This has to stop. This foolishness has to stop. These are all topics we're not addressing here, and we believe and only talking about connecting or other things means we only have to talk about what is our culture. Does our culture teaches us to be lonely, to be miserable in our life and enjoy even the pain of being alone? I mean, loneliness is different from aloneness. That I do understand. But where did this come up? Where does this come from? No. Joy is when two become one. And that's an African culture. Okay? My mom told me even in the village in those days, they looked for wives, for counterparts. They looked for husbands, for counterparts. And so nobody should stay alone. Nobody who wants to, has to live alone. Today we see even our boys, our youth on the continent complaining. I'm saying it because I've been having in my inbox. Our sons on the continent, oh mother, I didn't even expect that I'll be single up to now. What is wrong with me? I don't know them, but they are all my sons and my daughters, and I'm the queen mother. And I said, what's wrong with you, son? He's like, yes. And he was calling from South Africa. He said, Mom, I cannot imagine. I didn't imagine that I'll be single. I'll be living. I said, how old are you? He's barely in his early 30s. I said, what the hell? What is going? I'm sorry for my French. So what is going on with you, son? Tell me. Right. So this has to stop. It's not possible. We are made to be pairs. You know why they call us the monkey people? The monkey people, because our totems click together as a family. We are always in a bubble. We are always there together in a family structure. It is either the mama, the pulling. Just look at the way monkey cohabit. Not because we look like monkeys, but our totems act that way. So please, I'm just breaking that ground to tell you, get ready to cohabit. That nonsense has to stop. When we're going everywhere, we want to come into a house where we have the queen and the king and they cook and we eat together. Don't go see the king running around trying to wash some dishes or the queen struggling to do some stuff here. That has to stop. Anyway, that series is coming up. And hey, and that was the gift that I keep promising you, that I have a gift for you. We have to start to connect. I want to know all of you, your age. I mean, give me age. It doesn't really matter, but I mean, the age group. We realize that the spirits are one. And when we come together and that spirit in that space, it is okay. Come in, Benna. I know. You know, my baby brother is just bopping into my studio like that. And because he said I haven't eaten since morning, and he was just bringing me some very fresh food and say, Mom, you have to eat now. Yes, thank you, Ben. But I'm rounding up. I'm making this conversation very, very important to understand. Please get yourselves together. There's not going to be any man that will be single except he wants to, or a woman, irrespective and regardless of your age. You have to start inboxing me, and we will start bringing these pairs here. All right, we'll bring the couples live here. You give us and describe the type of woman you want, your age group, and the type of person you are. Believe me, the queens can manage everything. We manage everything. How can brothers be living in mansions alone? Women in mansions alone? Who taught us that? Come on. I go to the diaspora and I just see empty spaces, children not crying at home, children not playing in the compound. God, no. All right. So we would see ourselves. I'm going to post out who is coming up live tomorrow. Like I said, hey, every day is 24/7, and we're going to be connected at another extension, at another level, people. We are living in another space. So make sure you're joining brother Robert, Elder Robert, on the other TV channel. Please, I really cannot join tonight because I just have to run out and catch up some errands here. But we would see us tomorrow. Peace and blessings. Like I said, Kojo, I know you are single. Definitely you will be my guest. Patricia is also saying, I don't mind a man same age as me, 59. Wow, Queen, come on. How on earth didn't you tell me all this stuff? Now I'm beginning to see things. Soto Warrior said, Dr. Tata, I don't want a rose. I want a lily. Hey, whatever you want, we are 1 point how many billion of people, you're going to get what you want. And that's how we're going to be connecting to the continent. You see, Ayinda is saying, I'm single. So all of us here, we're just single. Wonderful. All right. Okay. Thank you, people. We're going to fix this issue. Okay, we're going to fix it so much. Is our diaspora continental connection intermarriage? Our mama aided in the Caribbean told us on the first show 2000, we must marry, we must intermarry. Continentals ain't the continent and the diaspora. So we're beginning to pair you up. Tell us how old, the kind of woman. NS Parker is saying, I need me a village girl. Of course, you would get, because we, the mothers, when we groom and put it together, nothing can go wrong. Our moms did it. Our mothers did it. The moment we pair ourselves together, we're here to guard you. We guard each other. We keep our relationship intact. And when we intentionally know that we are staying for a purpose, all this kind of patchwork that we've learned in all these crazy educational systems would stop. We're going back to the village culture. We marry ourselves. We pair up who fits with who. We look for wives for our children, and look for husbands to ourselves. Okay, yes, that is it. And someone is saying, I'm single in London. How can you be single? Who is eating that money there? Who cooks for you? Who takes care? You see that, and that's another system of sucking your energy and your money. If you're single, my brother Sam, how do you take care? So you definitely go and give it out and throw all the DNAs. You know what I mean? This has to stop, and it's stopping right now. I have 2 sons coming to meet their queens. Thank you, Viola. Thank you so very much. We have to do this thing intentional. All right. We have even our daughters in the diaspora. They're just wandering around, and people are picking them, messing them all around. We don't know what to do. We have sons on the continents, the same thing, vice versa. So we are moving at a different rate, and that rate has to begin. You know, Astun Diaya is saying, I'm single in Belgium. In Belgium, come on, give me a break, brother. Who is here that is not single again? So stop calling my name. Yes, please. We are taking it. I'm serious. Do not really, because we speaking like this, but it's a revelation that I had. We have to connect. We have to build strong, powerful, intentional families, companions. Call it anyhow you want. All right. We have to get your acts together. If you don't want, that's okay. But if you say, this is what I long to, this is what I've been longing to, this is what I wish to continue, I'm tired of doing this, I'm tired of being that way, you have the possibility, and you cannot be single. Okay. Yes. Yeah, my brother said, I'm not single, but I adore our Black queens. Of course, sure. All right. We love you too, our kings. Okay. So let's do this thing. Thank you so much. My daughter is matured for marriage now. You see, when our parents were doing it, we call them illiterate. When they begin to already see into the future and say, oh boy, remember, you're now getting into the age where you need someone. And we thought that it was foolishness. We thought it was primitivity because we come to the West and learn all the foolishness. And we throw our culture and our traditions, and we thought all those things were wrong. No, we have to do it the right way. And believe me, we're bringing back the village into the town. Thank you so very much. And we see ourselves tomorrow. I love you all. And I'll be live. Okay. I'll be live. Whoever is going to be our guest. But like I already introduced it to you, this is what we have to start doing. All right. Yes. Thank you so very much. Good night. I see you popping in. Please let me go. You like doing this. The moment you hear me sign off, that's when all of you start connecting again. Yes, we'll have a beautiful show.
You are watching the Pan-African Daily TV with Dr. Susan Tata. The Africa we want. Unity, consciousness, our culture, our spirituality, our history. One Africa for Africans worldwide. Motherland's calling its diaspora home. Join my voice. Join my team. Join my campaign. Campaign 21 hashtag 1 million subscribers on the Pan-African Daily TV YouTube. Be a volunteer. Apply now. Be the new Africa.
I already come on a bit. They don't be changing number, but don't block all the incoming calls. So they put some confidence and block all the numbers.